So you've probably never seen me on the internet before, and there's a pretty good reason for that. For the past year and a half, I have been uploading videos on here in the niche of like personal development, entrepreneurship, discipline, these kinds of things, combining them into videos. But I unlisted all of them because I feel like it's very hard for me to be authentic and to express who I really am in front of the camera. And I have been stuck for the past 3 years in content, whether it's written, video, or something else, because it's difficult for me to express myself in a way that I feel comfortable with, but that is also interesting for other people to watch. And so I basically wanted, or not I wanted, but I put myself in a box and I tried to be a certain way. I tried to behave a certain way to push out content that I thought viewers would like to see, or that I would think, people liked the format, people liked the way I talked, people liked the hook that I was producing, people liked the thumbnails that I was producing. And of course, those elements remain incredibly important if you ever want to create a following or a successful personal brand. But I felt like I was just paying so much attention, being a perfectionist, with things that blocked me from making the content that I wanted to make, and being authentic in the way that I expressed myself. And so the video that I'm making now, the one that you're watching, is to give you a taste of what I want to produce in the future, because I want to be able to express myself authentically. And this is just a video in one take, no cuts, that I want to put out as the first of many, hopefully. Obviously, I also want to create videos with transitions or cuts or edits, because that's also what I like with music and stuff, music that I like. Um, but I want to be authentic. I want to be myself. I want to express what I feel. I want to express what I think without going like to the extremes of like politics and everything. Everything has a time and a place, but I just want to talk about the things that interest me in a way that is interesting to me. I also want to wear what I want. I want to speak how I want. I want to show you the music that I like, because I feel like those things are important if you want people to connect with you and if you want to build a community of like-minded people. I feel like social media and platforms like YouTube are meant for that, for people to click on a video and feel like they're either learning something, they're being entertained, or they connect with a person. And we've seen recently, over the past, I would say 2-3 years, a very big shift on YouTube specifically, where previously, the videos that were popular were the hyper edited videos, the high production style videos with a lot of good edits, a lot of sound design, a lot of visual hooks. Um, but over the last 2-3 years, that has kind of shifted. People are getting tired of it, and they want more authentic content, more content where they feel like they're talking to one of their friends on a FaceTime call. That's a very known example that is given today on social medias. Just talk to the camera as if you're talking to a friend. And I feel like that works because there's just too much technology, too much, how should I say, too many mediums to disconnect people from each other. And people are starting to feel that, so they start to move back into connection and into formats that allow for that connection to happen. And with that, there's also a very big rise again of authenticity, of just being who you are, talking to the camera, and just talking about what you want or expressing yourself in a specific way. Being very raw, being very real, not sugarcoating things, not scripting videos, not editing them in a way that makes you look better. Of course, color coding and stuff is different, that I could still understand. But I like this new shift, this wave that we're moving towards authenticity and seeing people for who they are, who they truly are, but who they want to be, who they want to, or not who they want to be, but how they present themselves as being themselves. I feel like that's important, and that's a good shift that's happening. Because, in the past, when social media didn't exist, you relied on other people's interpretation on you, or I'm not saying it the correct way. I mean to say, for example, that if you were applying for a job, they looked at, of course, the first impression, how you were dressed, what you said, how you responded to questions, your skills, the language skills that you have, what is on your resume, like all these things. They took that and only that to look at what a person could mean to a company, to a person, whatever it was. And I feel like we need to move away from that. And that could be a hot take to some people. And of course, first impressions are important. I also have this where I just have a first impression of a person that I like or do not like. But what I mean to say is, people can be different from what you expect, but still fulfill certain criteria to do or be a certain person. And I will elaborate, because I say it very weirdly, but I will explain. What I mean by that is, for example, I am a legal advisor, like I said in the beginning, or I don't know if I said that, but I'm a legal advisor. I studied law, so I work in that. But I also love playing video games. I am Crimson level in Black Ops 7 currently, which is the highest rank I've ever gotten. Some people would say that doesn't align, right? The traditional belief is that doesn't align with someone who studied law and works in law. That's maybe a short-sighted view, but I feel like that was the case in the past. It could also be that you listen to a certain type of music and that doesn't align with the function that you have, the image that you portray at your job, the image that you portray to stakeholders, to people that you have relations with in your job. And for me, that's unfortunate. And that's something that I want to change with my content, because that ultimately is my life philosophy. We too easily put ourselves in boxes that fit for society and fit for what society wants for us. Whether it's the clothing, like I said, the music, the hobbies that you have. They traditionally, now a little bit less, but still somewhat, still have to align with who you are, your ego, your image that you portray to the external world. That's why so many people feel alone, burnt out, and unhappy, because they're not allowed to show other parts of their lives in a way that allows them to express that. So people bottle up aspects of who they truly are in order to portray an image to the world that they really aren't, or that they are not fully them. And that's unfortunate, because I think if we allow for that to happen, if we allow people to express who they truly are, and don't take away the advantage that you, for example, get in a job or a relationship of portraying yourself in a certain way, people will be a lot happier and calmer, because they don't feel this inner resistance that they have to be something that they don't want to be to fit in, or to get a certain job, or to get a certain partner. Now, of course, with relationships, it's different, right? Your true nature will always come out later, because you're trying to seem interesting to a person of the opposite sex or a potential partner. So there is some biology to it. That's not, I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I would like to move to a world where you have hobbies, you have other things in your life that maybe don't really align with what you do, or what you portray yourself as to the world, but that shouldn't take away from being in your rightful place. I don't know if I said that correctly or if it gets through, but what I mean is, for example, in a job, like I said, if that the fact that I play a lot of video games doesn't allow with a legal advisor role, the fact that I'm playing video games a lot shouldn't take away from being in my rightful place as a legal advisor. And I know that's maybe a bad example because nowadays video games are a lot more accepted, let's say, as just a hobby. But there's other things that are not, and that people get fired for or people get judged for, as, the fact that it's not aligning with what they portray themselves at to the external world. But that's unfortunate because maybe they were in their rightful place at that time, in that moment, and they were judged for something that shouldn't have been allowed to obstruct their ability to be in that rightful place. I know my talking is very chaotic, but this is the first video back. I haven't posted in a long time. And like I said, there's no cuts, so I want to get every word out from my heart as I think it. And so, yeah, I want this channel to be kind of a comfort or a support to people who don't feel like they can truly be themselves, like they can truly be authentic, like they can show aspects of their life and what they love to the world. And I want to start that movement. I know that movement has probably been started by someone else. I'm not saying I'm the pioneer in this case, but I would like to think that I'm contributing to that people might have quirks or weird things, and that shouldn't necessarily align with other aspects of their lives. People are polymaths. There's a lot of people that do different things. Nowadays, when you look on social media platforms, they all tell you to niche down, to go very specific into one thing, and to really work on what aligns with that box, that niche that you want to go for. And I feel like that's terrible advice. It might work in a context for entrepreneurs, for example, if you only make content for overweight men above 40 that want to lose weight, and you only make content for that niche, of course you will attract them and you might be able to demand higher ticket prices because you're specialized in that niche. I'm not saying that doesn't work, but in the context of feeling alone and feeling like you can't be authentic, like you can express other parts of your life, I feel like that's terrible advice. And you have to be incredibly passionate about that niche that you're in to sustain that for a very long period of time without feeling like you want to show other parts of your life. Why do you think there's such an appeal for vlogging? Because people want to see personal aspects that you wouldn't expect to be part of their lives, of the things that they portray to the outside world. And so that's the movement I want to contribute to. And this is the first video back in that energy. I'm going to do my best to keep that up. I can't promise that I will be posting a lot. It is my plan to post one time a week. I will try to stick to that, but I can't promise anything because I'm busy. Like, I have a lot of other stuff to do. But in the interest of being authentic and expressing myself, expressing the music I like, the clothes that I like, I want to show you that you can, and that you can have different roles in society without giving up that expression of who you truly are. I feel like that's an important message. And if you feel like you resonate with that, I'm always open to have a chat, to talk about this, to talk about other stuff. I have a lot of experience in self-discipline if you ever want to talk about that. That's an interesting topic for me. entrepreneurship, online business, that's also something I would love to talk about. Just anything that's on your mind, I am there if you need someone to talk to. And feel free to subscribe and follow along with the channel as more videos get uploaded, because I want to. I really want to make this a habit of uploading more content, because that's the future. Personal branding is the future. That's how companies are built nowadays. That's how movements are built nowadays. That's how thought leaders become thought leaders. That's how a message gets shared on a very grand scale. Of course, it should be a good message, a positive message. Don't spread hate. So yeah, that's the most important thing that I wanted to say in this video. So if you relate, follow along, subscribe, like the video, and let me know if you ever want to have a chat. I'm definitely open to that. So I want to thank you so much for watching this one, and I will see you in the next one.